Hello everypony, Prince Alagorn of Aquilonia here, and I must apologize for this being a tad bit late, as technically this is the official end of Grimdark month. I've had things going on this weekend that prevented me from recording, even though I have had the script written for the past 2 days or so. But let's move on from that, and let's just get right down to business. Today, in honor of Nightmare Night, we're going to be covering Luna Eclipsed. I feel like I'm a little late for this party. This is a Season 2 episode, after all, that's been dissected and covered by every major analyst that came in before Season 4, so it's hard to say anything original about it. That's why I'm not really even going to try. I can't add anything new to this conversation, but I can certainly try to give my own spin on it. As always, let's start with what I liked. First of all, I love the atmosphere. The show had already used night scenes to drum up tension, as in part 2 of the opener, fitting as that was ostensibly the last Luna episode, Dragonshy, and of course the Stairmaster. But this is the first time I think an entire episode outside of part 2 of the opener took place at night. It gave it this sense of both menace and whimsy, which is the correct combination for something based on Halloween. Second, it's a unique take on the Halloween episode. It establishes its own separate lore that works for that world while still being quite recognizable as Halloween. That leads to the third thing, which is that it helps explain why the citizens of Ponyville did not recognize Nightmare Moon in the opener. To them, Nightmare Moon had long since passed from a reality into the realm of folklore and myth. And the myth about her was completely divorced from her origins as Princess Luna. Instead, the lore that had developed around Nightmare Moon is that she's a moon-dwelling, demonic entity that comes to Equestria once a year to eat ponies, and the only way to escape her is to disguise oneself and then give her a candy tribute to distract her. This, of course, has parallels to our own current Halloween traditions. In the Celtic pagan Samhain that the tradition evolved from, Samhain Night marks not only the point where the walls between life and death are weak, but between life and the wider realms of the other world. Fairies and dark spirits abound alongside the souls of the dead, and one would leave tributes and wear disguises to avoid these darker denizens of the nether realms. But it pays tribute in a way that makes sense with the mythology of Equestria rather than our own. Fourth, and these are kind of a minor one, but they're so cool that it bears screaming it, Thestrals! Yes, we get our first glimpse of the Night Guard, and they are bat ponies! And we've all been dying to see some more explanation of these things ever since. Fifth, and also another kind of minor one, is Luna's cape. Somehow, she can command night creatures enough to have a cape made of live bats. And finally, and this one is the most important, it gives us our first real insights into Luna as a person. We expected her to be this miserably repentant figure struggling with basically post-traumatic stress disorder for her past crimes. And yes, at points we do see a little hint of that. But we also see her as stuck in the past and ignorant to current culture. We see her as much more brash and commanding of a figure than Celestia. But we also see that her presence is really a bunch of sound and fury signifying nothing. What Luna really is a teenage girl, and occasionally a goofy one, a trait expanded on more in the comics in the Journal of the Two Sisters and Castlemania, with the idea of her designing the original castle to more or less be her own private funhouse, that desperately wants love and companionship and remains heartbroken that those things seem to elude her. And it's clear that her sense of guilt makes her even more vulnerable and even more desperate. It makes us root for her, glad to see her finally break through at the end, and it's, I think, why she might be more popular than Celestia. Celestia is beautiful and warm and kind-hearted and a great ruler, but she can seem quite a bit distant at times. Luna seems much more real and much more in tune with the reality of growing up. But this episode is not without flaw. The first flaw is that the townsfolk, once again, prove to be kinda sorta pricks. At the end of the opener, they met the returned Luna. They gave her the flower necklace. They were presumably told that they could trust her. Here, their initial reaction is absolute panic. Now, granted, how Luna arrived, screaming in on a thestral-pulled chariot accompanied by thunder and lightning, her face hidden in her cape, probably did not help matters. And there was another external force keeping them in a frenzy. It still annoys me, though. Second, the other main six follow along. Just fucking no! They were all there to see Luna's return. They witnessed her reconciling with Celestia. They know this isn't Nightmare Moon! They should not be looking at her with fear or trepidation! And lastly, there's fucking Pinky. This is our first introduction to the Pinky in Philly Vanilli, and if anything, she might be worse here. She tries to justify her actions by saying that she's just playing along with the spirit of Nightmare Night, that it's fun to be scared, and that's the point of Nightmare Night. And yes, she's right. And we can probably assume from the statement that she believes that Luna, who has been back for a few months at this point, has been let in on the secret. But for God's sakes, woman, open your fucking eyes! Does Luna give any indication in this entire episode that she's having a good time? Or even understands what is going on? No! You should be able to notice this, stop, pull her aside, and explain the situation to her. This blind insensitivity is the worst possible trait for Pinky to have, because it will always lead to nothing but frustration. At least for me. I'm sure someone out there finds it funny, but I just find it, intentionally or not, needlessly malicious from a pony that is not and should never be malicious. Ignorance is not bliss, Pinky. Ignorance is hurtful. Wake the fuck up! Overall, this is still quite a fantastic episode that gives needed character development to Luna, expands on some lore, and features some of the best atmosphere in the show. Pinky almost ruins it, but if you can see past her and the misbehavior of some of the others, you have a very, very solid outing. I'm giving Luna Eclipsed 4 stars. And with that, Grimdark month is officially closed. Next month is going to be catch-up month. Expect reviews of the Songs of Ponyville and Rainbow Rocks albums, and the Journal of the Two Sisters. Since I've had that one written since August, I've just never gotten off my lazy ass to fucking record it, as well as Rainbow Rocks itself, and my long overdue reviews of Equestria Games Inspiration Manifestation and that second Flim Flam episode. Until then, bye!